All right, welcome back to another episode of Dear Kevin. Today we're talking about another evening with Kevin Smith. This time we're talking about evening 2, evening harder. As you can see, he's doing an action pose with microphones instead of guns. On the back, he's doing other action poses with microphones instead of guns. Very fun set. So this came out after the release of Jersey Girl, but before the release of Clerks 2. So if you think about it in terms of like the evening withs, the first evening with Kevin Smith kind of covers all of it. Everything from Clerks all through Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So there's stories from all those movies. In the first one, he tells a great story about how Jason Mewes develops as an actor. I forgot to mention that. And he mentions, you know, a bunch of cool shit that he did in each movie, Clerks, Mallrats, Amy, and so forth. This one, however, came out after Jersey Girl. So really only one new movie under his belt for him to talk about. Only one new big landmark thing. Clerks 2 was on the horizon. I don't think it had been announced yet. Because nobody asks him about Clerks 2. Plus, he does a bit of the Clerks 2 screenplay in this set. So, just like the first one, An Evening with Kevin Smith 2 is a Q&A session. Unlike the first one, which was shot at like 6 different colleges and is cut up to various locations, this is 2 different performances, 2 different events. And it's all one event on the first disc and all one event on the second disc. So he filmed in, this is the international Evening with Kevin Smith. The first set is, disc 1 is him in Toronto. I think it's Toronto. Canada, anyway. And he did like a 6-hour show there that was cut down to about 2.5 for the DVD. In a huge fucking arena, like massive, huge fucking theater. The stage is massive. I can't get over how big that room is. Every time I watch the special, I'm like, God damn, it's a massive theater. The second special on disc 2, the second performance on disc 2 is in London in the UK. And that's in a much smaller room, a very small, intimate little theater. They're both very funny, obviously. If I had a preference, I'd rather watch the second one because the lights are up in the house and it just feels more like, you know, Kevin Smith hanging out with like 30 of his fans. It's more than that, but like the lights are up in the audience, it just seems a little bit more intimate. And it's really fun to watch him interact with, you know, such a small audience, comparatively speaking. The content, however, may be more favorable towards the first disc, which is in Toronto. Once again, he tells very, very long, funny stories about all kinds of shit. Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm seeing the autofocus on my camera switch between my face and Leonardo DiCaprio's face. And isn't that always the fucking way, right, guys? Just always competing with Leonardo DiCaprio. Fuck. Anyway, the one in Toronto, he talks for a long time about his writing process, sort of. More so about writer's lays. He has a great diatribe about Dora the Explorer, which is very funny. Jason Mewes, once again, appears on both discs. His wife has a little cameo. She's in the audience in Toronto. I think his mother is there as well. They're both really fun specials to watch. Just like the first one, they're endlessly amusing. Completely easy to watch. Just put it on in the background. It's an excellent thing to have on. There's a lot of cool content. He tells some cool stories, as per usual. One of my favorite bits is people asking him about the backlash on the first one. Like, did anybody get pissed that he told, you know, some stories about Prince or about John Peters or whoever else? Did he hear anything? Like, he bitch slaps Tim Burton pretty hard in the first one. Did he hear anything from those camps about, you know, how dare you, Kevin Smith, make fun of us kind of a thing? And nah, not really, but it's fun to hear him talk about it. He does a lot of, you know, British accent, bad British accent stuff in the London special. I'm racking my brains now to think about what the fuck he even talked about in the Toronto special. I remember so vividly him talking about Dora the Explorer. That's how he opens the show, is talking about Dora the Explorer. And of course there's no scene selection, so I'm fucked. I should have rewatched this before I came back to it. He talks about other screenplays he almost wrote. Like, he talked about doing a $6 Million Man thing. He talked about him and Jay have a fun conversation about sex and the various positions that Jay has, which would later morph into that whole let us fuck thing they do on Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, the podcast, which I'll get to at some point. But really, just like the first video I did about Evening with Kevin Smith, there's not too much to say. They're fantastic to watch. Go look them up. Look up the clips, get the DVD again, very, very cheap, I'm sure. In terms of the Clerks 2 of it all, like I said, he hadn't announced it yet, but if you remember from Clerks 2, which we'll be getting to very soon, there's that scene where Randall and a Lord of the Rings fan have a conversation about which is better, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. And Randall does his imitation of what the movies are, where he just kind of walks across. Here's the first movie, walk, walk, walk. Here's the second movie, walk, walk, dodge, you know, that whole thing he does. Well, Kevin Smith does that beat for beat, line for line, word for word almost, in the Evening with Kevin Smith 2 London special. It's very weird to watch. And when I saw it for the first time, I hadn't seen Clerks 2 yet, and it made me laugh really hard. I loved it. But it did pull me out of the movie when I was watching Clerks 2. I was like, hey, this is fucking, what the fuck? He stole from himself, which, you know, you're allowed to do. You're an artist. But yeah, that's interesting to me, is that he did the Lord of the Rings just about people fucking walking. And then he even does the thing about, like, you know, this movie should have ended? They should have ended on the logical point where Frodo comes in, or Sam comes in and gives Frodo that really fucking gay look, and then flat out bricks in Frodo's mouth, or whatever the line was. That's all in the London special. It's all about the London special. Fuck. What's he talk about in the Toronto one? He talks about the Maple Leafs a little bit. He talks about, weirdly enough, it's like a George Bush joke. Kevin Smith getting political, which he never does. Fuck. Wow, I'm racking my brain. Apparently the first disc is just Dora the Explorer and George Bush and fucking. I'm sorry, guys. I should have rewatched it before I reviewed this for you. Obviously, that just gives you more incentive to go out and watch it yourselves, right? I mean, it's really good. I haven't seen these in a very long time. Like I said, just like the first Evening with Kevin Smith, I watched these ad nauseum back in the day, so I haven't revisited them in quite some time. Now it's all about the new Kevin Smith shit. Like, I haven't a hard enough time keeping up with the podcast and stuff to go back and rewatch, you know, a 4-hour special. I still do it from time to time, but it's tough to go back to find the time to watch them with the hours I have. So I guess that's pretty much it for this one. The Dear Kevin is very simple once again, so I'm going to get into it real quick. Dear Kevin Smith, I love the Evening with Kevin Smith DVDs. I know you do as well. They've also been wonderful bits of career boosts for you, because I believe you got a couple different movies off of them. You got Catch and Release off of Evening with Kevin Smith, and you also got Die Hard 4 off of, or Live Free or Die Hard off of off of Evening with Kevin Smith. So clearly you enjoy doing them. Your fans love them. I have to imagine the DVDs sell like fucking gangbusters. Please do another one. I think it's time. The last one you did, I believe, was either Kevin Smith Burn in Hell. Yeah, Kevin Smith Burn in Hell, which I don't even know if that got a DVD release. I've seen it on Netflix before, and I believe it was on Epix. But I think that was the last one you did, and that was just after, or just as Red State was coming out. I think it was while you were on tour with the movie. So obviously, since then, you've made Tusk. You've made Yoga Hosers, haven't been released yet. You've restarted your career, because that Kevin Smith Burn in Hell special is fantastic to watch. I love hearing you talk about, you know, your passion for filmmaking and why you got into it in the first place and why you're kind of deciding to leave. But that's your headspace, seemingly anyway, in that special, is that you're kind of done being a filmmaker. You've said what you have to say, and now you're moving on to other things. But since then, you've gotten so reinvigorated and had all these wonderful experiences, off directing The Flash, you know, starting Fat Man on Batman, meeting all these wonderful people, and making these movies that I fucking love, and I know you must love making them, those batshit fucking Canada movies you're making. So, and plus you've got this horror movie coming out at holidays, which I forgot to mention that. Kevin Smith's got a movie like in theaters next month, sort of. It's an anthology film with like 7 different horror directors, a bunch of shorts. Kevin Smith directed one of those, so I have to go see that and talk to you guys about it when I get the chance. Sorry. Back to you, Kevin Smith. I think you've got, you know, a shitload of things to talk about. Obviously, you're on tour. You'll be here in Austin doing a Q&A sometime this month. But film one, man. When you're done with, I guess you have to go shoot Moose Jaws. I think you said you're shooting that this summer or sometime in May. When you're done with that, if you're not fucking exhausted, I think it'd be really cool if you got, you know, if you put it up, hey, we're recording another evening with, pick a big venue, pick one in Austin, so I can come watch. Although I guess your last one was in Austin. Kevin Smith Burn in Hell was filmed in Austin. But anyway, please, please, please do another one. Do it in Australia, man. Those fuckers love you in Australia. But anyway, that's the Dear Kevin for this week, sirs. Please do another evening with Kevin Smith, because I've watched the previous 5 over and over and over again, and I just want another one. I want to hear you talk about what things have been like in your life. I want to hear you tell some more Harley stories. Fuck, there's another thing. Okay, I remembered now. Sincerely, George. Back to you guys, the regular audience who's actually watching these. That's the thing I forgot to mention. I remember what he talked about now. He does talk at length about Harley in this Evening with 2 special. He tells some cool stories about growing up with her and her as a little girl, and how she walked in on them having sex once, him and his wife. So there's a lot of cool, funny stories in there. He talks a bit about Jersey Girl, not too much. You know, I think he was still a little bit raw from that, the shellacking that movie took with the critics. But he does tell some funny stories with it. He does a bit from the Jersey Girl commentary track, weirdly enough, where he kind of attacks a critic who went after the girl. Apparently one of the critics in London attacked, like, in her review said the little girl was awful, and that's just, like, not just awful, but, like, personally kind of attacked the little girl in her review, which is just fucking reprehensible. So anyway, that's all for today. Evening with Kevin Smith 2. I keep leaning over here because I put the DVD down. Boy, I'm so professional. I'm really good at this. I'm excellent at this fucking filmmaking stuff. Put the camera on a stick and talk at it. That's all for this week, for this special Evening with Kevin Smith 2, which I think I'm going to watch again, because I realize now I can't remember what the fuck he talked about, but really. I'm going to go put this in right after I finish watching Salvador. Spoilers, I have a new special, a new series I'm thinking about doing about Oliver Stone movies, starting with Salvador. So anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for watching as always. You know, subscribe, like, blog, Twitter, Facebook. Give me love and attention, please. I'm so lonely. On a personal note, I just got back from my interview at the Hive, the Meridian Hive Meadery. It went really fucking well, so hopefully I won't be working at Circle K anymore. I'm working such miserable hours. I'll have a job I enjoy, and, you know, maybe for a little while anyway, some more free time to myself to record more videos and maybe do some writing. So, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow talking about something else Kevin Smith related, I'm sure. Have a good day. I love you all. You're great people. Bye-bye.